2, Business, the Art of Winning. I'm William Farmer, and it's a pleasure to be here today. We're going to be talking about 3 ways to improve our presentation skills. This is going to be sponsored by our High Impact Presentation Program, which will be run on the 2nd and the 3rd of December. So if you'd like to know more about that, contact our office. It's a brilliant program. Now, I've made a career out of speaking in front of groups. And you know what? I still had that nervous tension before I addressed any group. Someone said to me, well, why are you still nervous after 30 years of presenting? Well, actually, my answer is, if I lose my nervous tension, that's the time for me to get out of it. Because at the end of the day, that nervous tension actually is the fuel that drives a great presentation. So, yeah, you might get butterflies in your tummy. You've all heard about that. But our goal is for those butterflies to fly in formation, for you to be in charge of them, not them in charge of you. So Dale Carnegie had so many great secrets of how to present, how to speak in front of groups. In fact, he wrote a famous book, which was The Quick and Easy Way to Effective Speaking. And so I'm going to highlight a couple of points that we will cover on our High Impact Presentations program. If you're listening to me in the car, these points will be fantastic if you have to present. So the first thing is, one of Dale Carnegie's principles is be yourself. Who's going to play you if you're not going to play yourself? I mean, Tom Cruise got the contract to play me, but who's going to play you? And so don't imitate other people. Always be comfortable in your own skin. And even if a presentation is highly technical, they can't dispute, your audience can't dispute your view. In other words, how you've used that technology, your experience of it. And when you talk from experience, or what we call an incident, it brings that whole presentation alive, because it's you using the technology or you explaining the data based on your personality, your filter. So being yourself is learning to communicate your ideas from your point of view, your experienced point of view, lived in space. And why that's so powerful is because we hear things like a movie. We jump in the movie. If even in a podcast where you've got 2 people speaking, you imagine in your mind what they look like. And it's like we go on a journey with people. And so when you talk from your experience, you take people along with you on a ride, your story, your enthusiasm, your passion, what might be exciting to you, or even your thoughts. Good leaders are good storytellers. So learning to speak in front of a group nowadays is becoming more important, not less. And it's still in the top. Actually, it's the number 2 fear. The new number 1 fear is having real conversations or difficult conversations with people. In fact, that can create more anxiety now than any other time. Speaking in front of a group is still number 2. So if you want to enhance your ability or your professional skills and business, the art of winning, learn to do both of those things incredibly well. So let's look at our structure of presentations. So one of the easiest structures that you can use is what I call incident, action, and benefit. So tell a story about something that happened to you. Now, an incident is something that's 2 minutes to 10 minutes in duration. That's it. If you go further than that, it becomes an event. And look, when we're talking about events, it can be a bit fragmented. And the other thing is that you want to be able to really hit the point. If you've had a conversation with someone that's just gone on and on and on and on and on and on, and you're thinking, whoa, I'm sure there's a point there somewhere. And maybe that person's having a conversation with you and thinking, what is the point? And so if we are confused in what the point is, I can guarantee you your audience is going to be confused as well. So when you're building your presentation, make sure that you've got really good key points. Use experience, or what we call evidence. And you can have statistics, you can have testimonies, you can have analogies, you can have lots of different forms of evidence, but also bring in your own experience. So we find that comes alive a lot more effectively. Then there are 2 times when people will listen to you. The very first thing you say and the very last thing you say. So the first thing should grab people in the story immediately. I try and coach people not to have too much setting the stage or setting the scene, because what happens is that the whole talk can take so long in setting the scene that people have gone to sleep when you actually got into the fantastic part, the content part. Now, hey, let's be truthful about this. Great movies have great scene setters, right? Sets up the scene. I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings, and Peter Jackson and his first Fellowship of the Rings, I think it was like nearly 20 minutes setting the scene. And so it does work, especially if it's a great story. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is don't do that. Just go straight into the story. And that gets people's attention. And then always talk in terms of the other person's interest, one of Dale Carnegie's famous principles, which means, hey, what's an action I want you to take? And what's the benefit of that? And next is making sure that you use subjects that are going to be relevant to your audience. Who is my audience? What are their needs? What are their wants? What are their challenges? Dale Carnegie said, always be grateful if you're speaking in front of any group. And you've heard me say this on the podcast probably at least 100 times. I spell time L-I-F-E. What does that mean? Every minute of your day, you're actually trading your life. You can't get it back. And I don't know about you, but I like to have a good trade. So when I'm in front of a group, if I've got 100 people and I'm speaking for an hour, that's 100 hours. So I don't know about you, but I want to make sure everybody in that group gets a massive return on their L-I-F-E accumulatively. So I always think, what's my audience? What's their needs? What's their challenges? How can my experience help them be more effective? What would be of interest to them? What would be the trade of time for them? And so that's one of the key things. Always be thankful. Play yourself down, not up. Aren't you just so grateful to have me here today? I'm sure I'm going to impress you with all my knowledge. I don't know about you, but even as I say that, I've turned off. So people are very interested in people that have their thoughts, their aspirations, their needs, and their wants front of the speaker's mind, because we are all interested in this life. And the more we can talk about how we can make this more pleasant, more profitable, more fun, more energized, more present, these areas are of interest to most people. So one of the hardest talks I ever gave was actually to about 100 scientists. And I walked in, I don't have a PhD, but what happened was I was standing in front, everyone had a PhD, and they were scientists that had to pitch for funding. And so I thought, well, what's my audience interested in? Are they interested in, there's no way I can talk on anything that they're talking about. I mean, a lot of them were amazing scientists with fantastic papers, and some of them were world-renowned scientists as well. I'm sure we had some of the people who had actually helped with the cloning process in that particular audience. Some of the contributing scientists were actually in that audience. So what were they interested in? They were interested in making sure they got funding. And funding was really, really difficult for them. They weren't naturally salespeople. So my talk was in terms of their interest, how you get your papers, your science funded. And yes, it does require convincing conversation. So I actually had my audience's attention immediately, and we started to talk about how to package, how to create an opportunity for people to want to fund their science, talking in terms of the other person's interest. It was a great topic because it was their topic and it was in line with them. So I always talk about what I've earned the right, and I tie that into how that can be helpful to your audience. So just to recap, first of all, get straight to the point, an incident or evidence, okay? Straight in there, don't do too much around the area of setting the scene. The other thing is tell people what they're going to do, why they're going to do it, and the benefit of doing that. Incident, action, benefit, or evidence, action, benefit. So I'll just give you a quick example. So if I was talking to an audience around sales, I might choose something from my experience. So I'll give you a quick example of that. So there I am, and I'm walking in, and I see Tracy because she's got a name tag, and I go, hi Tracy, how you doing today? She says, yeah, I'm good, Will. Hey, is Steve around? Have you got an appointment? Actually, this is just an unannounced call. Understand if he's busy. I'd love to catch up with him. He's got a mutual friend. His name is Andrew. And Andrew said to me, there's no way in the world that Steve would ever do a Dale Carnegie course. And I like a challenge. And she started to laugh. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah, that's right. You've read the book. Well, I've heard of the book. I'm not too sure if Steve would do the Dale Carnegie program. He should, though, because, he's obviously very successful. I'll just give him a quick call. So she rings. Steve comes down the stairs and goes, who are you? And I gave my outline. Oh, geez, I know Andrew. Yeah, I'll give you 5 minutes. So we sat in his office. It was a beautiful office. There was a Ferrari out the window. Steve had obviously done incredibly well in his life. And I said, Steve, since you've only given me 5 minutes, hey, let's just do a quick audit on what you'd like to improve. And so we discussed it. And he said, you can truly help me be more confident and have the confidence everyone else thinks I've got. Yeah, I think I can. He said, really? And I said, yeah. And anyway, long story short, because it's only 10 minutes, Steve signed up and he did the program. I trained 600 of his staff over a period of 20 years. So my point is, make that call, okay? Yes, you may be nervous, but if you get out there and do it, you'll be able to maybe influence many, many, many people over a longer period of time. So the action I want you to do is overcome your fear, just do it. And the benefit is you'll be able to help a lot of people throughout your life. So that's a quick example of just going straight into the incident, no fluff. You probably saw Tracy, you probably saw a name tag. Maybe you saw the image of Steve. Okay, and you'll be embedded in the story. So I outlined what's the action that you need to take, and why that action is so important, and what's the benefit of that. So one of the key areas that we help everybody is in that structure. What is the structure? What's the audience? How do I play to that audience? How do I keep them engaged? How do I make it fun? Dale Carnegie said, I can listen to anyone who has earned the right and is excited about their subject matter. I can't listen for more than 10 minutes to someone who is floundering, hasn't earned the right, is talking about a subject they know very little of. So you have to bring yourself into the story, and then the story just comes alive because people start to imagine, they start to use imagery, the emotions that you have transfer to the emotions that they're going through, and it makes your story a little bit fun. Next is things like, in that program, we'll talk about how to handle difficult questions, how to overcome some of the challenges that might come from a curveball, and how to manage those curveballs. That's one of the things in the high impact presentations that we also outline. Now, how to use our voice and our tone effectively. I actually have quite a high voice. And so using my voice and having intonation and using it in a fun way is something that I've really had to work hard on. It doesn't actually come that natural to me. So I've actually worked hard to get my voice to do a lot more things than we used to be able to do. All my trainers have had to learn to talk from their diaphragm because if we just talked from our throat for 3 days, we'd be pretty much gone after the first day. So there's breathing exercises that we do in that program as well. And the other thing is it's very selective, that program. We only take 10 people. You got 2 trainers, camera person. So we give you public coaching and one-on-one coaching. And that's really, really, really powerful. So just some advice for those who are listening who may never do a presentations program. We've all got smartphones. Video your presentation and see if you can improve on it. Then video it again and see if you can improve on it. Always rehearse in front of a live person. Dogs are good. They're great. They love you anyway and they lick you, but they don't give you that feedback. So a live person is great. Jim Carrey, one of my favorite comedians, he uses his face. His face is his instrument. So, when you are videoing or using the mirror, look at your face. 59% of our communication is non-verbal. It's what we say, how we say it is the tone, which is only 34%, but actually how to use your body. So that's one of the big things that the high impact presentation program does, is it allows you to see yourself as others do. And we coach how your body, your tone can make huge difference to stand out in front of the crowd. Hey, I'm William Farmer, very short one today. So this has been about 3 ways to improve your presentation skills. And so I'm looking forward to meeting any of you on any of our Dale Carnegie programs. I'm also I'm so happy to be being able to give my knowledge on these podcasts. I've actually had a few people say, "Hey, Will, I'm listening to your podcast. This has been really great reinforcement. We appreciate it." So thank you for those people who have been giving us feedback and emails around the podcast. So I hope it's of service to you. I'm William Farmer. This has been Business, the Art of Winning. May you make all your days good ones.